Chapter 2, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Summary. This chapter recounts Nelson Mandela's journey from his early life in rural South Africa to his rise as a leader in the anti apartheid movement. It details his struggles, imprisonment, and his eventual rise to the presidency, where he became a symbol of peace and unity. Mandela's life is a testament to the enduring power of resilience and the fight for justice. In his inaugural speech, Mandela speaks about the meaning of freedom, emphasizing that it's not just about the absence of oppression, but about living with dignity, equality, and respect for all people. The key points that one must notice are freedom in three stages. Mandela discusses the concept of freedom in three stages, which are key during his life. Personal freedom. As a young man, Mandela sought to break free from the constraints imposed by colonialism and apartheid on individuals. It was about self liberation and fighting for one's own rights. For his people, now we are going to see the second theme, freedom for his people. As a leader, Mandela fought for the freedom of his people, aiming to end apartheid and bring about equality for black South Africans. His vision was for a society where all people, regardless of race, could enjoy freedom and equality. Third one, freedom for all humanity. In the final stage, after his release from the prison and upon becoming president, Mandela broadened his vision to include all of humanity. He advocated for peace, unity, and reconciliation, seeking the struggle for freedom as a universal cause that transcended national boundaries. He also talks about the second important point, the twin obligations of life. Mandela reflects on what he calls the twin obligations of life as obligation to family and community, number one. He believed in his duty or the duty of individuals to support their families and communities. A person must contribute to the collective good and work for justice and fairness in society. Number two, obligation to fight for freedom. The second obligation is to fight for the freedom of others, especially those who are oppressed. Mandela saw it as his moral responsibility to contribute to the liberation of his people and work toward the justice of society and for a just society. Mandela's view on the oppressed versus the oppressor. Mandela famously, in the last paragraphs of the chapter, argued that both the oppressed and the oppressor lose their freedom. The oppressed, while they suffer under an unjust system, the oppressed also lose their sense of humanity, dignity, and self respect due to the systematic degradation imposed by the oppressor. They are denied the freedom to live their lives with equality. On the other side, the oppressor, on the other hand, these guys, the oppressor, by perpetuating injustice, they also become a prisoner of hatred, prejudice, and fear. Here in the chapter, the Britishers are referred to as the oppressors, who oppressed the South Africans. They too lose their freedom because their minds are imprisoned by oppressive ideologies. So the British are also losing the freedom by oppressing the South Africans. And these Britishers are disconnected from the shared humanity of those they oppress, that is, the South Africans. Coming to the important quotes or important quotations for the exam, Mandela talks about these famous quotes in his lines. I have walked that long road of freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. This quote represents Mandela's acknowledgement of struggles and challenges he faced throughout his journey towards freedom. It highlights his determination and resilience. Second quote, I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. This metaphorical quote reflects the ongoing nature of the struggle for justice and equality. Even after achieving significant victories, there is always one more work to be done. For the third quote, we have, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." This powerful quote highlights Mandela's belief that true freedom is not just about personal liberation, but about ensuring that the freedom of others is upheld as well. Themes and key symbols of this chapter. Number 1 comes freedom. Mandela's view of freedom is multifaceted. That means it has multiple views. It begins as a personal quest for liberation, that is, from his childhood to his boyhood, and as he grows, but it expands to encompass the collective freedom of the people and the ongoing struggle for human rights. Number 2, unity and reconciliation. Mandela's philosophy was one of reconciliation rather than revenge on the oppressors, that is, the British. After spending 27 years in prison, he emphasized the need to unite South Africa, both black and white, to heal the wounds of apartheid that was imposed on them. Number 3 comes resilience and sacrifice. The chapter underscores the theme of resilience, with Mandela's long imprisonment symbolizing the sacrifices made for greater cause. His fight for freedom was marked by the cost of personal suffering, yet he remained steadfast in his vision for just society. His vision for a just society, as in for a society which is honest. From the point of exam, the following are very key and important in this chapter, because Nelson Mandela is one chapter where a topic which is very favorite for the board examiners. So freedom in 3 stages is very important on one aspect. Focus on how Mandela's and understanding of freedom evolved throughout his life, from a personal goal to a universal cause, in the 3 stages. Second one is the twin obligations that are discussed. Discuss Mandela's belief in the dual responsibility of individuals, one to their family and community, and another to fight for the freedom of others. The oppressed and the oppressor. Highlight Mandela's powerful view that both the oppressed and the oppressor are imprisoned, and the consequences of perpetuating injustice. And the next one that should be focused is important quotes. Be sure to include key quotes that illustrate Mandela's philosophical views, particularly regarding freedom, sacrifice, and reconciliation.
Walking on beams of light.